3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Happy TV's podcast.
Raw, brazen, and comical. This is the ultimate podcast. I-O-H-O, in our humble opinion.
Hey, shut up lah!
Welcome to another episode of In Our Humble Opinion. Ayo.
Ayo.
Hi everyone.
Namaste.
Let's start out this week with something interesting and a bit bizarre, but funny. We've a lot of people have been talking about why some people still insist on not wearing masks, and all kinds of theories and possible explanations. But something that I read, which came in the news, which I thought was very funny. Johnson & Johnson has reported, Johnson & Johnson, they make toiletry products, has reported that they had a fantastic first quarter with their stock prices flying after beating the earnings, and it raises dividend. And in particular, one of their products that sold very well was Listerine. Not sure why. It seemed like a lot of people now forced to wear masks are discovering, perhaps for the first time in their lives, that they have bad breath and are rushing out now to fix that problem. And so Listerine is doing very well, and Johnson & Johnson's stock is going up. So that's something for us to keep in mind, is that maybe some of these people who are not wearing masks is because they can't stand their own breath. And they need to do something about that, because they need to wear the mask and get fresh breath.
I'm not surprised, man. I am not surprised. When I put on that mask and I get out to the park to do my workouts, I can tell you, after a while, if you're dry throat and all that, you're breathing in your own muck.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, come think of it. Maybe I should make a beeline to get some Listerine, dude.
And Johnson & Johnson, of course, makes a lot of different kinds of products, but Listerine seems to be one of their best sellers. And it's interesting because we don't think about it, but a lot of times for us, we don't smell our own breath. But when you have that mask on, you're forced to, and so the truth comes out.
Oh yeah. I can't imagine.
Are we allowed to remove our masks to eat breath fresheners and to spray breath fresheners?
Yeah, I think you can.
Is
just
there an
lift it
allowance made for that? Yeah. So every time an ambassador catches you without a mask, you go, "Oh, I'm having a fisherman's friend. I just need to air it out for a second."
That split second of taking off the mask, John, what you just said. Something happened to me a couple of days ago. Yeah. I did go for my usual walk. Brisk walk in the park. So I do about 5 kilometers. Yeah. When I first started out, brisk walking, as far as I know, you don't need to put on a mask, right? Yeah, I read it on Active SG. They said it's okay. So there I was, took the mask off, put it in my pocket, went for a walk. And then this really young guy, I think he's probably hired as an ambassador or something, on the golf cart, the golf buggy, drove by, stopped, looked at me, took his phone out, and took a picture of me. So I was like, why? He didn't say anything. We're not saying a word, right? But guess what happened? I carried on and just continued walking. Felt very bothered about this. About maybe 500 meters into that, after that happened, I decided I put the mask on because I just felt uncomfortable. Why did this guy take a shot at me? When I reached my halfway down on my walk, made a U-turn, come back to the finishing point, I saw the same guy on a golf cart heading my direction, looking at me, and in front of me, there was a cop car. You know what I mean? He took a picture. I'm just speculating, but I don't think I'm that wrong. He probably took a picture of me, sent it to the cops, and the cops go around looking and identifying who are the people. But I already had my mask on. So, nothing happened.
Right.
Okay. It started to storm, and I was about 2.5 clicks away from home. And all the gazebos and all that are all cordoned off, right? You can't get shelter. And it was storming. And I had this cloth mask on my face. You know how waterboarding feels like? When you got wet heavy with water around your face, and you're breathing that in, you're hiking your way back and fast super speed, right? And I can tell you, I almost had a heart attack, man. So I was asking myself, should I take this thing off? Otherwise, I'm going to die here. But decided against it anyway. Dumb. Because I didn't want to get in trouble again.
Yep.
Or at least, Yeah.
And the thing about the exercise thing is that you wonder at what point do they then decide, okay, this guy has stopped exercising and has cooled off and should be wearing the mask. It can't be that precise.
Yeah,
But it can't be directly after that too.
Rate and decide.
And you know something? I was so tempted to just show this guy my Fitbit. I had a Fitbit on my wrist, right? My heart rate was going 145.
Yeah.
And then after that, when it started raining and I checked my heart rate, I was going 150 because I could hardly breathe.
Wow.
So I mean,
I just think there's too many of these capo people. I mean, this guy was a real paid ambassador or volunteer.
No, he was on a golf buggy, so definitely he's with the N Parks golf buggy. Yeah.
Look.
Right.
You have to admit there are guys even now who use, this to their advantage. All these, you can't really say exactly when to wear the mask, when to remove the mask, and they just don't want to wear the mask. And I just
it's bad breath.
And
bad breath.
Talking about bad breath from the woman's perspective, I think we have a bit of an advantage here, because ever since this wearing mask has been something that we have to do regularly, we are saving a lot of money and time on makeup and cosmetics, because this mask, you only have to do your eyes and make them look bright. Lipstick is a no-no, and the rest of your face can't be seen. So
yes.
I think, maybe the shares of cosmetics might start going down now, especially the lipstick.
Okay, so as the guys, man, the guys are helping J&J make more money.
Well, the guys have got all the bad breath. Yay, go for it. Buy the Listerine.
Yeah, women are not helping. Women are not helping.
Important.
We don't have bad breath.
I think, okay, speaking as a person who is often out of breath, okay, and often look like I'm exercising when I'm not, okay, and I go around with a mask and my glasses are forever fogged up, okay, so here's a shout out to people who wear glasses, right? Bear with the foggy glasses and the humidity, because the masks are important, right? Don't be one of those people who, for the sake of a bit of comfort, a bit of not shock, you put other people at risk. Yeah, okay, bear with it. It's not for long, all right? Bear with it.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Thank you.
Sales for anti-fog goes on.
Yeah, no. Because I've seen guys, and I just don't understand. They have the mask hanging from a ear. They have the mask down their chin.
Fashion.
They have the mask anywhere except where it's supposed to be.
Fashion.
And I tell you, let me share with you this couple that was passing by, and of course they were walking hand in hand. Masks were not anywhere to be seen. I was walking on the other side of the road, and I was not in a golf buggy, Chris, but I had to just turn around and say, excuse me, guys, where are your masks? And then they laughed at me and they said, oh, you're across the road. If anything happens, the virus is not going to get to you anyway. And I was like, and I couldn't even say anything because I had a mask, so I could barely be heard. And I grumbled, and I'm like, oh God, what's wrong with them? Where the mask?
Hey, but you know, guys, we are the government is giving out new masks. I don't know if you read about that.
Yes,
model.
right.
Series 3.
Yes.
Sorry?
Series 3.
What does the new mask do? What does the new mask do, Gilbert?
Yeah. It's more breathable.
It a special mask?
It's a better mask, and they're going to be giving it out. You know, I mean, I'm to the best of my knowledge, I know no other government in the world that gives out masks to its people. I mean, you know, Singapore has got to be the only one. And then online, what I see are more people complaining, saying that, you know, oh, why you must give us more masks? You know, wasn't the first one good enough? So leceh. You know, again, so you have the whole litany of complaints again, which is very tiresome to read. I'm just grateful that the government is giving out masks. So these better ones would be quite welcome for, especially if you wear glasses.
Am I right to say that they're made available via vending machines?
Through all the different outlets, including vending machines.
Wow.
Right.
The fact that they are giving out more masks might mean that this is going to be the new normal for a while. It could
Yeah,
be
but that's
that
what
we're
they're saying all over
expected
the
to
world.
wear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it's good that then there'd be a lot of grumbling to say, now we don't have any masks. We've been wearing the old black color masks and now we have to wash them.
And something that's interesting also is that there are people who have taken this and really embraced it. Fashion, for example, they are now fashion
Yes,
masks
yes.
being
Yes.
designed by designers as well as by fashionable people, made of
Yes.
different beautiful fabrics, brocades, and even
Yes.
with glitter and
And
crystals.
matching bags. Gilbert, matching bag.
Hey,
So
we
you
should.
have the bag and then you have the mask and then you have a matching something in your hair and it's perfect.
Yeah.
I like
No, but on that note, on that note, we should design an IO mask.
I think you're the only one wearing it, Chris.
I mean, why? I mean, we talk to the producers about
Gilbert.
this. Like, come out with an IO mask
Gilbert.
and then distribute
John.
it out.
Gilbert, do you know if any of the fashion brands have actually released masks?
Yes,
Any of
actually,
the big fashion?
LV.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about the
LV
big ones.
has.
I know of regional designers who have come up with masks. Yeah.
I've seen something like that with the LV design, the typical LV design mask.
yes.
Yeah.
I saw something like that online.
Or is that a pirated one?
I
Does it
don't
say
know.
VL?
I don't know. But I really think we should talk to the producers to have an IO mask done.
But the homemade masks, which many of the women are making, so many of them, they are, making these masks and sending it to the foreign workers. And you look at some of those masks and they're so bright and cheerful. I mean, ours were black and
That's
I think
nice.
some of them were pink,
Yeah.
the ones that were distributed by the government.
Yeah.
But these really, cheer you up. At least when you
Yeah.
look at yourself in the mirror, you're not like,
Yeah.
who's that?
Yeah, but I think that's great. I
I
think
get
that all
scared.
of this shows people's embracing of an inevitable situation, basically.
Right.
There's nothing we can do
Right.
about
Yes.
Yeah. WHO has said something, right? They just released
Yeah, you
something,
make the
isn't it?
most of it, basically.
They said that the world has to be prepared for a second and third wave. WHO, right?
So we could be wearing masks well into next year.
Oh gosh, yeah,
And beyond. So
yeah.
Yeah.
better start having your Monday to Sunday masks, all your different colors and pastel shades and all that. I think all the major lines need to start releasing masks, make it trendy, and then everyone will be excited. But I think to round up this topic, they should also start releasing aromatherapy masks that can be infused with something fragrant.
Oh, that's
or
an
with
idea.
a little potpourri pack that you can
Yes.
insert inside.
Gosh.
But John, that's an idea, and you should take it up with get some entrepreneur, get some investor to put into these.
Yay, Daisy! Go, Daisy!
It's a great idea. No, really.
You just have to
I mean,
put
think
a few
about it.
drops
I mean,
of
of
your
course,
favorite
we've got to
perfume on
work
it.
out. We've got to work out how not to get burnt and where the aroma is going to come from.
Well, you just put a few drops of your favorite perfume on your mask. It will work just as well, basically.
Oh,
Okay,
dear.
sounds like
John, there
Gilbert
goes
tried
the
that
idea.
already.
John, there goes
Don't take away
No,
my
I was-
money making.
No.
scheme.
You know what I was thinking? What would be really lovely? Imagine a mask and it's got, roses on it because it's homemade. And then you've got the special perfume which only smells of rose. Or you've got your mask with lavender and then it smells lavender. And then,
Hey, so
then
you
can
have the idea now. You've picked it up and run
Yeah,
with
exactly.
it.
You just take one of those car air fresheners that they dangle from the mirror and just shove it inside.
I can just
Smell
see you guys.
awful.
You just spoil the whole idea, the entrepreneurship that I was feeling here. Okay, I'll just play with my new perfume. That's it.
But there's going to be lots of, like you guys said, it's going to be lots of new normal that's going to be happening. And just imagine people who want to get married, the young people who want to get married, how are they going to possibly do that? Especially if there's going to be like circuit breaker, if there's going to be social distancing still happening, I'm pretty sure it's going to still stretch way past June. So what's going to be happening with these guys? How are they going to get married?
Yeah, I mean, I had a nephew who had to have his wedding postponed because they couldn't do the banquet, right?
Mhm,
and that's
mhm.
not an option. You don't get married if we cannot all get together and makan, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, there's a new solution, right? Which is you can get solemnized online,
Mhm.
Yes.
right? That's available now. Okay.
Wow.
And it's interesting. It's interesting because I don't know how many people would rush for that. Why would you be so desperate to get married and not wait for situations to get better? You can share it with friends, So, I mean, one possibility, of course, is, the baby's on its way.
Yes.
And babies do not respect circuit breaker. Okay, so yeah, maybe that, in those few cases, sure, go ahead.
Come on.
But I don't know. I mean,
couples will
would you get married online? Would you?
Well, look, when I got married, right? And I got married at 18, 19 years ago, right? When we got that done, we wanted to have a big wedding. We had 800 plus people, okay, at our wedding. It was a massive show, and it was featured on all the major magazines, blah, blah, blah. It was a fantastic event, I must say. But we enjoyed that a lot. But a lot of young couples today, they want to keep it quiet. They want to save the money. They want rather spend it on a long honeymoon in this exotic place somewhere in the world. Right? So there will be those who probably, I think, would welcome having online solemnization, especially if it's not going to blow a hole in the pocket.
But solemnizations themselves don't cost money, though. I mean, you can just go to the registry of marriages and just do it there.
Still must pay lah.
No,
Still
you
must pay lah.
There's a license.
GOP also, right? Don't I think I think it's solemnized. I mean, I got married in church, and then everything happened by the priest.
It's always it's not the solemnization that costs money. It is always the big hotel ballroom dinner that costs money.
But I can see Chris's point that this is a good time to get married if you want an excuse to save money.
It's a chop curry pop wedding. You know what I mean?
I cannot go to Jeju Island to do photo shoot because I cannot fly.
But guys, I need to say something. All three of you are only talking about the money, and you're talking about how to save that, and you're talking about the banquet. And I'm going to take this a step back and talk about love. Okay? So I'm deeply in love, and I just don't want to wait till the COVID gets over or any situation like that. It's all about love. I want to be with the person I love. And if that means that I need to get the solemnization done online and have my friends on Zoom, why not? But one question after that. So I'm in love and I can't wait, or I'm going to get that baby and we want to be there and I'm going to get married. But the question is, if we have been living separately before that,
yes, exactly.
Would I, after this solemnization, be able to go and live together to actually consummate this?
No, it's not the relationship. It is whether or not you've been in the same household all along.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So let's say we weren't. Let's say we are traditional. I'm living with my family and the other boys, and we are in love and family pressure and
solemnization doesn't give you the permission to go and move in together.
So even in the solemnization ceremony, you are in separate screens.
Correct. You're separated, right?
Right.
So how do you when the guy says that, now you can kiss the bride. So let's try to do a mock thing again. John, turn. You're on this side of my screen. You're on this side of my screen. So you turn this way. I turn this way. Then we just leave for when we do this again. That's how we can do it. Now you can kiss the bride.
We'll edit the kiss. Yeah.
So then I'm going to assume that it's either for the BTO, the flat, or it's either for some other family pressure, or it is just I don't care. Even if I'm not physically with you, I love you.
I'm curious as to how many people even took this offer up of doing it online.
Let's see. Let's wait and see how.
It's a great business model, man. I should tell my friends who run event companies that take care of wedding the wedding planners. Hey guys, figure out what digital technology you can use for Zoom, right? And plan the whole solemnization for them, right? And have a wedding party going on without being there.
No, you can't make money that way. There's no event.
Okay, I've got a question.
Via Zoom, virtual event.
Okay, I've got a question, Chris, which also goes with this whole virtual and we've been hearing that in Wuhan and many other countries, because of the COVID situation, actually people want to take divorces.
Does that mean, online?
That's my question. Does that mean if the solemnization work, we can start taking divorces online? Cheaper, better, faster. I don't even have to meet you in person.
Another business model. Yes. We can plan a divorce party.
That seems more urgent right now.
Virtual divorce party.
Crowd separations.
So the silver lining is, as you can get together because of love, you just separate.
Yeah, I agree, Daisy. I mean, let's not talk about the divorces and all the negative stuff. This is cool. If you're in love, doesn't matter whether you're in Zoom or not, man.
All about love. Yes.
Turn around and kiss the
But
bride, like that.
Any online solemnization means a deferred honeymoon.
Yeah.
Very deferred honeymoon. It could be a long time before you get to go away together. And like Daisy pointed out, if you live apart, then it's a deferred consummation. Okay. Unless you want to start a separate Zoom chat just for the two of you and do what you like. Okay. So yeah, it's a whole different, it's a new normal. It's a new normal.
Okay, this is a family show now.
That's how families are made. Right? It's a new normal. Okay?
No, hold on. That's how families are made? You mean now we have a virtual online
At the consummation.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, all right.
All this will be edited
Families
out.
were made that way, at least not in my time.
Okay, but speaking of new normals, right? Okay, so there was something which was abnormal a week ago, which has suddenly sort of reverted to normal, right? Which is the HBBs, the home-based businesses, right? Last week, we talked about how a lot of people who make a bit of a living, right, from creating stuff at home, sharing it with their friends, sending it out, were not allowed to do it, right? And now suddenly, hey, they're allowed to do it again very quickly, right? Very, very quickly. And some people are saying, oh, this is the government backpedaling on a bad decision. Other people say, oh, no, it's thinking ahead. It's adjusting to circumstances. What do you guys think?
Didn't Her Excellency
backpedaling or moving ahead?
Didn't Her Excellency, Madam President, didn't she say something about that before
she
this
wrote a
whole thing?
post about it and how she herself enjoys buying stuff from the home-made bakers. My take on this, I think, is again to touch on what I had said before in an earlier show, is that I think the government does a really bad job at communicating sometimes. It probably has an idea within the ministries as to the justification for restricting HBBs and then when they were going to be opening it up, but they did not communicate this. So it seems to us, justifiably, that it seems to be a backtracking. Whether or not it actually is, I really don't know. But again, I think it is just poor communication on their part. The fact that we are thinking it's a backtrack shows it's poor communication on their part because they didn't explain to us why they're doing this. And I think that that's a very important thing, that a lot of things happen within the ministries, which they then implement into society without explaining to people how long this is going to be for, why we are doing this, and when this will end, basically. So it leads to speculation, which is never a good thing.
Yeah,
that's
we talked
how
about
the whole
this.
controversy last week arose in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Atika Maslan got into trouble because she was trying to clarify a very gray, unspecified
And
area,
we talked about
right?
this on our show last week as well.
Yeah, with Jamal.
With Jamal.
Well, my take on this, guys, is this. Okay, yes, we spoke about it last week. Now, since last week and now, the policy has changed. HBB is going to be allowed on May 12th. But what you are talking about backpedaling doesn't seem to bother me. Yes, so what if it's backpedaling? The situation nowadays is very fluid. I mean, every day there is a new statistic, every day there is a new challenge. So let's look at the situation. Now, if I'm the government, it's like I'm playing Russian roulette, every day. One goes off, okay, there was no bullet in there. And next, I try a policy, a decision, okay, I missed it. And then one day the bullet comes off and you die because you made a wrong decision, or maybe the community felt you made a wrong decision about the HBB. Having said that, the best way is to review it, to relook, and even if you sound as you are goddamn backpedaling, at least you agree to move on. I mean, imagine a situation where you get stuck with your pride or your, I'm not going to change my decision because I don't want to look foolish. And that would be really a bad situation.
But when
backpedaling, go for it.
Quite literally, if you backpedal on a bicycle, I get dizzy. I don't know about you. That's the point, you see. So when the motion is going backwards, you get confused, like exactly what's going on.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. But even if you backpedal for a while, ultimately your goal has to be going in the front again, right?
Yeah, of course.
So you're not going to backpedal all the way.
I mentioned
so I think it's
I mentioned in a previous I mentioned in the previous episode that one of the things I'm grateful for at this time is that our government seems to be a lot more willing, right, to change their mind and to adjust the circumstances.
Sure.
In the past, there have been incidents where they have been more stubborn than we'd like them to be. But at this time, they've become flexible, right? And sometimes you have to backpedal. Globally, we've backpedaled as a whole.
I agree. I think that there's,
Right, as a
there's
planet,
definitely, that kind of flexibility to changing situations, especially in a situation like this, which is so volatile and so nebulous, is a very important thing. So, I wouldn't fault them necessarily for changing their minds or amending policies if they get new evidence. I think it's more about one of communication. That's very important.
No, and we agree wholeheartedly, Gilbert. It is about communication, and we hope that as they move on and they learn, they will communicate better. But even though, if they've missed that mark once and that Russian roulette bullet has gone off once and killed them, at least they're waking up again and saying, hey guys, it's okay. I'm going to make the right decision now. And thank God for that. Thank God for that.
But what Gilbert said,
communication.
yes.
Yeah, there's something that confused me though. Something about bakeries, right? Being allowed to open soon, right? Okay, they were previously closed, but there's a limitation to what they can do, right? They can do bread, but they can't do cakes. Is there a reason for this? Was it communicated? Did I miss something?
No.
Is there a major division between bread and cakes that I don't know about? Because I eat both. I eat both like they're the same. Is it a healthy lifestyle thing?
Yeah. This is what I mean, though, is that there must have been some rationale. I like to imagine and hope that within the civil service, within the ministries, people had a discussion about this, and they said, okay, because of A, B, and C, we can allow this, but because of D, E, and F, we cannot allow this.
Right.
They just need to communicate that.
I tell you what, I believe is the conspiracy. This is MOH, the Ministry of Health, coming in and saying, we've not been able to stop these people eating all these fatty things. Can I please borrow your rules?
Actually, I don't think that's the thing.
Ban cakes.
It is about cakes. Cakes is about celebration. You know what I mean? So if they were to bake a cake for Mother's Day, for example, I'm pretty sure lots of these poor bakeries, they're going to have, get the wasted resources and ingredients because they can't sell cake for Mother's Day. You know what I mean?
Is that why? So they're trying to avoid us having parties? So, for example, if they allow
think so.
cake,
That's the only thing I can think of. That
temptation.
We're speculating here because they communicated to us.
We can only speculate.
So we have no choice but to speculate. And that's why I say you get mabuk on the bicycle. You know what I mean? You get a bit dizzy on the bicycle, especially,
So that's Gilbert's point.
Back pedal, front pedal. Okay, I've got a crazy idea. Can I just put it across? I mean, it just struck me now, and it's a bit... it's not directly connected to the cake or the bread and why this decision has been made, but I just want to bring it out there. Now, let's imagine a situation, because you said, Chris, that they have a lot of the ingredients and it's all being wasted. Now, HBB is being allowed. It's going to be closer to Ramadan, Hari Raya coming on. I'm imagining, let's say there's a situation where the government turns around and says, all you people who are going to bake cakes at home business, go ahead, make those cookies, make those cakes, and we will compensate you, and we will buy all those cakes and cookies and allow you to spread it around in your HBB block with your family, with your friends. And don't worry about it, because the ingredients has been bought. We will pay you for that ingredients. We will buy all the cookies and cakes off you. Let's have a real party.
But I don't know whether or not
that's
HBBs...
exactly the thing that they can't risk, though, because people will literally start to party.
And can HBBs sell cake?
No.
Can they sell cake?
I make those cakes. It goes out the proper way through the proper delivery methods. It goes out.
That's what they're not allowing, though. They're not allowing third-party pickups, or they were not allowing it, you see.
No,
so
from May 12th, it's allowed, right?
From May 12th, I think it's allowed.
Yes.
But I don't know whether they can make, home-based bakeries can bake cakes. Are they allowed to bake cakes?
So I'm going to make my cookies as long as the government pays for it. And with those delivery guys, it goes out to my whole neighborhood. That way you don't lose money. Your ingredients gets taken care of. Everybody in your neighborhood celebrates Hari Raya together. Just a thought, come on. It's just about,
So bakers can't bake cakes, but home bakers can.
Don't know. I don't know.
Cookies.
I
I
really
think you
don't
can
know.
bake cookies.
You can. I know
Is
that's
there a
for sure.
limitation
But
to
cake,
what
I don't know.
HBB covers? Because if I do wedding cakes at home and I send them out from my home,
Yeah,
then
like
I'm a
suji cakes even, suji cakes. Some
Yeah.
people make suji cakes
So
and sell
again, many overlapping gray areas, right, Gilbert?
So guys,
you know,
you
Talk
don't like
about
the
great-
idea about my party, about the government paying for all our cookies?
I think it's a great idea.
It's a
but I
great
think
idea,
very
but
dangerous. It's a dangerous thing to unleash those foods.
yeah.
You know,
No,
because
keep
okay,
it-
there's a tightly stretched rubber band that's waiting to snap. Okay, what's happening in South Korea, for example, right? They've recently relaxed. They've opened some of the malls, and there's a new term that has come up now, which is called revenge buying. Okay, and people are rushing out and buying all the things that they've been waiting and eyeing online, and so suddenly this cramming of the malls, right? Luckily, because they're South Korean, they're quite disciplined even in the malls, even in their frenzy. But look at us, right? Every time the PM speaks, we panic and we go to Sheng Siong and we wipe out the shelves. You tell us there's free cake, I'm terrified of what will happen.
Cookies, my friend. No, cookies. And they are going to be
Free anything.
specially sent
Free
through
anything.
delivery. Okay. You know what? You're talking, John, you brought up a very interesting subject. And you see, at one point of time, there is enough predictions about doomsday, about the economy going downwards, everything, there's going to be a loss in all the businesses. One side, we saw, of course, the malls, Sheng Siong itself, they made so much money that they gave bonuses to their workers, correct?
Yeah.
Now, in this situation, it's so unpredictable. We don't know what is going to happen to businesses when we start returning to normal.
Yeah.
It brings me to a subject about transport hikes. Because, there was a discussion by our Minister Koh Boon Wan, and he mentioned and said that public transport operators are under significant financial stress. So the government might have to update the financing model for public transport. So my question here is to you guys, do you think, just moving ahead, there are going to be hikes again where our transport is concerned?
I don't understand. What's
the model sounds very dubious.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's the definition of I mean, the press, mainstream media reported that.
Step in,
but they didn't explain to the reader what this means.
Yeah. Are they going to step in and help to support, as many governments are doing, right? Step in the faltering industries that are important, that are essential.
Or are we left to speculate again?
Or do they mean just allow them to have a fair hike as and when they like? It would be a terrible time to do that, I would say.
Yep.
But
on one hand, people are needing support from the government. On the other hand, you want to raise fares. Not a good idea, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know enough. There's so little information about this.
No, but you see, let's look at it this way. We are sitting here as a panel, and this is something we put on our thinking hats and say, instead of waiting, the government makes a decision, then we turn around and say, oh, this decision was not right, it was wrong, or was it right or not wrong? And that is easy to do because that's hindsight, right? And we come back and we discuss. But I'm putting forward this point because the transport minister has already made this statement saying there is difficulty, like in lots of businesses, there are financial difficulties. Therefore, my question to you all is, one, of course, there has to be a hike somewhere, sometime, because we just can't keep on using transport and losing so much money. So two, if it's a matter of, yes, it is going to happen, it's just a question of when, or no, it should not happen, at least for a couple of years, till we are back on our feet and we can afford that hike, is my question. I'm like, what do you think? Just go ahead and make some.
I think it depends on how much the hike is. My perspective is that because, I lived in the US for such a long time, and I know transport fares in Singapore are a lot cheaper than what I'm used to paying in the US.
Right.
You take the subway in New York City, it's flat $3 US, even if you go one stop, basically. So in Singapore, it's not at all like that. So, and I think that we have got a very good public transport system here, notwithstanding the problems that we've had. Still, very, very good world-class transport system. So you got to keep in mind basically what is the tolerance of the commuting public to a fare hike and how much that hike is going to be, basically. So I think that
But I'm also
you can't really say yes or
curious.
no until you know how much they want to increase it by.
Yeah, and
I'm
I mean,
also
I do
curious
realize it's a
what the-
premature discussion because post-pandemic, we don't know what the circumstances are going to be. But if the minister brings this up at this point of time, that there are financial difficulties, it's just like a seed being put, as in, are they already putting
you
this
know-
in motion, as in,
Did
please,
he
this is the
specify
inevitable. Yeah, it's the inevitable. Get ready, guys, because we have no choice.
Did he specify reasons for this fare hike? That are specific
No,
to
no.
COVID?
No, there was
The
no mention of a fare
difficulties
hike.
that
There was no mention
okay,
of a fare
the
hike.
difficulties that are
The-
being
the-
cited, are they
Correct.
COVID-related difficulties or normal running difficulties?
No, of course.
Because
they
those
would
are
be
two
both-
totally different situations. Is
Agreed.
this a COVID fare hike or a COVID reaction, or is it a time for a
No,
reassessment?
it wasn't a COVID thing. Nothing to do with COVID, basically.
So
No.
so it's a P&L situation, right? It's a bottom line, it's an overhead situation.
Mm.
At a time like this, I really don't think it's as important. This is a time where I feel the government needs to step in, solve these problems off the books.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, but
So you think the
But,
government has
we're
put
all
in-
back to normal. You
Talking
really
about it
shouldn't be
right now-
worrying about that right now.
Yeah, but talking about
You
it
know,
right now, doesn't
support
mean
the
they're going to-
transport.
Yeah,
Right.
but they're not going to implement it. They've not said anything about implementing
Yeah.
it.
No,
I-
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't
This
think they
is
should
just-
even be talking
No.
about it.
Actually, one of the
know, I
reasons I
really do
brought
not.
it up, I brought it up precisely because, like what you said, John, they spoke about it. It was mentioned that, transport suffering.
They
Like a
shouldn't.
What
lot
was the
of other-
context,
disagree.
Daisy? What was the context of him bringing this up? Because,
I think he was highlighting the loss. He was highlighting the losses at about
yes,
30%.
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
I
highlighting the
don't want
loss.
to hear about those losses. Everyone's losing and sacrificing.
Okay.
know?
You guys
I
had a
think
lot to say about
for
this.
me,
I
it's
want to
about
say,
priorities.
I want to have my
Right?
say
It's
about
about
this.
priorities.
Go ahead.
But I don't think
There's
that
a
the
national
country
sort of
can
discourse.
still, because corporations still need to issue reports. P&L still need to be looked at and all of that. You can't say that. Okay, we shouldn't be talking about the subway.
Go ahead and do what you need to do, but does this have to be national news? To lead to further speculation and worry and
But
uncertainty.
is it national news just because he mentioned it within one context?
Well,
I don't.
Well, the press printed
I
it,
think we-
mainstream media.
Yeah,
did
exactly.
that.
If it wasn't
But-
national news, I would
but-
not know and I would not be concerned
but-
about it.
but
If
that
it was
did-
just P&L and annual reports, go ahead. Don't fill my mind with these things. Everyone's struggling with
Yeah.
many issues. Everyone's stuck at home. Everyone's worried about their friends and relatives. Yeah, for me, it's about priorities right now.
That being said, if let's say it was delivered to the people in a manner like this, this is our public transport, post-COVID or post-circuit breaker, post-COVID, whichever it is, we are going to be the economy is going to be in doldrums. We need every Singaporean to come in because I know businesses will suffer as well. We need help. Maybe you guys should leave your cars at home for a bit and take public transport, help us along instead of hiking up fares if it's going to ever happen.
Right.
And talk to your citizens and say, listen, the COVID thing's done. Assuming on that hypothesis is done. Yeah, we're past circuit breaker. This is about citizenry coming together to rebuild what the damage has already been done. Yeah, I would say also businesses and people are going to be struggling to rise themselves up from the ashes again. So we are biting the bullet. We also expect the nation to do the same. Bite the bullet together with us. We will do the same for you. Right, hand in hand. Right? Instead of, this is what we need, so we're going to raise prices here. This is what we're going to do. We're going to raise prices there. If that's going to happen, I think that's the wrong way of. This is going to be a new normal. So let the new normal be something better. It doesn't have to go back,
exactly.
to before circuit breaker, before COVID. Instead of hiking things up, let's try to work together.
Correct.
There's a sense of, I think, Chris, exactly. There's a sense of business as usual.
Yes.
Even though we are all living in this strange, weird sort of nightmare together, right? at some level, some things are trying to be maintained as normal. There's a status quo that they're trying to maintain.
Yeah.
But no, that's not true. That's not
Yeah.
true. Face the facts. We are all living different lives.
Yeah.
I hope the politicians are living different lives with us and not living their past life and expecting to return to that past life, because we don't get to return to that past life. We
That
are
was-
all irrevocable.
That was Jonathan
changed
Lim.
by
It was
COVID.
Jonathan
Right?
Lim.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
any one of us. He said that. Yeah.
But yes, okay. Talking about something non-COVID related, okay, for example, right? Have you heard about the various astronomical and astrological things that have been happening around us? Okay, our planet is not only being threatened and affected by COVID, right? Things are happening just above us with the ozone, and Chris pointed out today that things are happening even beyond. Are we being invaded by other planets right now? What was it that just hit us or almost hit us recently?
But
Chris, you were
actually,
saying,
I'm quite a buff for this kind of things. The first thing that happened when COVID-19 hit the world was that the alignment of planets, all of us in a straight line, and we could actually see them. As a matter of fact, we can still see them. From my place, I can still see Mars, and Venus is shining really, really bright now. Really bright. It's been like that for about a week plus. You can really see the solar system. I mean, of course, naturally, it's not as good as if you're in a rural area somewhere else in the world where you can see the whole Milky Way, right? But it's good enough. And then after that, did you know that towards the end of April, there was an asteroid that just nearly missed us by a hair's breadth? You should see the reports of NASA.
large?
Yes, it was quite big. As a matter of fact, some places
It was
in
the
world,
size of a truck, and it
Yeah.
flew about 7,000 kilometers over the Pacific Ocean on Monday.
7,000
Wow.
clicks is not a lot.
Yeah, one of the closest pass-bys on record.
Yeah.
Wow.
gosh, okay.
Yeah. And
I
then
I think it was actually aiming straight for us, and then it realized there was COVID-19, and
then
just
it
sort of
avoided.
laid off. I'm not landing here.
Then there was this asteroid shower. On
When?
Wednesday night.
Meteor
There was an
shower.
asteroid. Yeah,
Yeah.
meteor shower. Sorry,
Wow.
meteor shower. The asteroid shower when shambles, man. I believe that would happen. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Meteor
It was-
shower.
Yeah. And a friend of mine took shots of it.
How long did it
turns out
last?
blurred,
How long
but
did it last?
I don't know.
Okay.
Dude, I had to sleep,
Oh.
lah. I didn't stay up to watch it.
But
But
Meteor
something like
showers
that.
are actually quite common now. That's fine.
Yeah. But then the lobang in the sky above the Arctic Ocean, the big
ozone,
lobang
yes.
we actually had in the sky, the hole in the ozone layer,
yes.
just
Yeah.
directly
What
above the
happened to
Arctic. It's
What
gone.
happened to the lobang?
It
Yeah, I
healed
think-
itself.
Oh, that's
It
wonderful.
was growing. It was growing right at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it has healed itself. But
It's the
apparently
biggest hole,
not
yeah.
because of anything to do with COVID, right? I think Gilbert,
Oh.
you know a bit more.
Yeah,
about
what was that about?
Yeah,
Gilbert?
basically it was the hole in the ozone layer was caused by an unusually strong polar vortex, which basically created the hole, and it has fixed itself. So a lot of people were sharing this as evidence that our reduced human activity has helped heal the ozone layer, which is a nice sentiment and thought, but that's not the truth. The truth,
not
the fact
true,
is
huh?
that it had nothing to do with our human activity in this instance. But that's not to say that human activity does not damage the environment, because it obviously does.
course.
It's just that in this particular instance, that ozone layer had not been caused by specifically human activity, and therefore it was not healed because of the lack of human activity.
So it happened because of its own. Naturally, it happened. It healed,
Yeah,
it healed
naturally,
itself.
basically. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That-
Life-
that's
Life goes
wonderful
on for the
news.
planet.
No, that's wonderful news. It's so
Yes.
wonderful just to listen that healing is going on. That's
Yeah.
the wonderful.
Yes.
I'll share with you guys something which is very interesting. Is that sunlight comes to us from the sun, all right, ultraviolet light,
Yeah.
and there are basically three kinds of ultraviolet light: UVA, UVB, and UVC. Actually, on Earth, we only get UVA and UVB. We don't get UVC. UVC is very, very powerful. It kills by mutating cells, and it destroys the outer layer of cells, and it's absolutely destructive, but it is being screened out by our atmosphere. So we don't get UVC. We get less than 0.1% of UVC from the sun actually reaches the Earth, which is good because otherwise we'll all be dead. But man-made UVC lamps are used to sterilize hospitals and surgical instruments because they rip apart viruses, bacteria, and fungi. So, it's very interesting that all the hospitals now in big cities, including Singapore, use UVC lamps to sterilize an entire room after the patient has left it. But humans cannot be exposed to it.
I read about that. Yeah.
So Gilbert, I need to ask you, because there's another business idea going on in my mind. So can we produce these lamps for home purposes?
Suntanning.
They are being sold. Daisy, you can buy these lamps.
Okay. And, so to destroy any virus or infection.
You can just buy a light bulb. You can plug into your own socket. But there is some danger with this because the light has to be very strong enough to be able to work and kill the pathogens.
UVC.
Yeah.
Yes, UVC light.
UVC.
But you cannot expose yourself or any pets or plants to this light.
Then we'll have another problem. It's called a zombie apocalypse.
So you can only turn on the light when you leave the room.
No one's there. Yes.
Exactly. So they got to set a timer.
Holiday.
So these lamps have got timers on them. But again, knowing how people are, people misuse things all the time. And you can only imagine, because these things are so dangerous, or what will happen if you give one of these to somebody who doesn't use them properly.
Thank you, Gilbert. One more of my entrepreneurial ideas has gone down the drain. Thank you. You've been doing a lot of that.
No, Daisy.
They're already available on sale.
Market this as a burglar-proof lamp. When you go on holiday, you put this on in your home. Anyone dares to break in, you will find them dead when you come back.
We will stop busting and popping your bubbles. Okay.
But the lamps are available commercially. You can buy them online already. It's just that they are dangerous.
And the people who are actually selling it online, that is mainly only for medical facilities, or are people like
it's sold for homes. It's all over.
The cleaning companies actually have those. The cleaning companies, right? Those that come and disinfect your offices and all that.
I'm actually surprised at how easy it is to buy them. Anyone can buy them. And
that sounds very dangerous.
Well, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that.
I didn't realize that as well. I'm like, here we are talking about getting burned to death. And here it is, go online and just buy it.
No, actually, Daisy, Gilbert said mutated. It mutates you.
They're not burned, basically.
Do they look normal, these bulbs? Have you seen them?
Muted sounds as terrifying, if not more.
They don't look normal. They don't look like normal bulbs.
Okay, so they're not easily mistaken, right? You wouldn't put them in a storeroom and then someone accidentally go and scoot them in.
Basically.
Okay.
Generally, they are freestanding lamp units with the UV lamps inside them.
But they have a robot actually that also just goes through a room with a UV lamp to disinfect the place.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
For the commercial cleaning companies.
And one of the dangers of having the hole in the ozone layer is that the UVC light from sunlight from the sun is not filtered and comes down.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the danger, and it increases cancers and skin cancers, especially in places that have this problem. So. And
The Walking Dead will be a true story.
Yes, my God, Gilbert. Actually, Chris, I can see this script coming alive.
It's already being done. So the TV show is already being done.
But they didn't become The Walking Dead because of these lamps, right? You're giving a different spin to it.
No. Okay, this is the new TV.
This is going to become the Entertainment Today show.
Okay. Just in my humble opinion,
movie. This is like a C or D plot.
D
for Daisy. Horror.
No, but remember John was talking to us about how he's involved with these horror films. John, weren't you talking about horror? Okay.
Yes.
You are right. So this is just a plot that I'm throwing up, a spin doctor plot for writers.
Okay.
We're gonna work on it.
For some reason today, I just feel as though just ideas are just popping from the party to the lamp to the. I'm sorry, guys. It's just one of those feeling very bright.
So there'll be a whole thing of very suntanned zombies who have and no viruses. They're super healthy, right? They're super healthy because they're so clean,
Yeah,
but they're horribly burned. Okay, that's a great idea.
mutated.
I think we've come to the end of that topic.
You can go on
I
forever.
was trying to be scientific
Gilbert
and
really, every
See what
time
you
we
started,
go
Gilbert.
into this, Chris, every time we go into this frenzy of
back
talking
to
nonsense
reality.
stuff, Gilbert is the first one to say, "You guys,
Okay,
show the
stop.
line, show the line."
enough of the nonsense. Yeah.
Stop. Okay.
Take us
all right.
back to
Stop.
reality.
Yes, Cheah. Okay, Cheah.
Okay.
Drag us back in line. Come on.
Onto something a little bit more serious here. In Parliament last week, or was it this week? The nominated member of Parliament, I think Anthea Ong, she asked for an apology. She asked basically the Minister of Manpower, Josephine Wong, whether or not Josephine Teo, whether she would apologize for the migrant workers. And my thought about this, I want to share this with you guys, is something which I read online on the website 5 Stars in the Moon. I think we'll put this up when we do the show. But I just want to read this to you because I really do believe in this, and I think it's important for us all to keep this in mind. Is that she asked for an apology for the migrant workers. She's not wrong. But her suggestion for the government minister to make the apology is meaningless. This is merely subcontracting an apology to the government. If anyone has failed the migrant workers, it is all of Singapore. All of Singapore has benefited from cheap, expendable labor. All of Singapore has denied them from integrating into the rest of society. We wanted their dorms to be built far away from our estates. We treated them with disdain on our public transport and public places. And nobody really gave 2 hoots about their living conditions until now. Employers wanted to cash in on profit, and they also owe an apology for looking for the cheapest, easiest solution. Dorm operators wanted to keep costs low and turn out a profit, and they also owe an apology. Singaporeans have benefited from amazing roads, tunnels, malls, homes, hospitals, airports, and offices, and all of Singapore owes them an apology, not just a token handful of politicians. And I really do believe in this. I think that this is a societal issue that every one of us has played a part in, basically. And in some countries, the politician will commit harakiri and sacrifice themselves, fall on their sword and apologize. I'm less interested in that. I'm more interested in seeing real change that will benefit the people who are affected. And so, I do believe that we all owe an apology to the foreign workers, the migrant workers, and even the domestic workers who have contributed so much to our country. This is a cause that I have long talked about for many years and been very sensitive to. And a lot of times I felt like I was banging my head against the wall because there was so much xenophobia and so much intolerance towards these poor workers from my fellow Singaporeans. So I'm glad to see that this is now something that we are all focusing on. And I do agree with what this writer at 5 Stars in the Moon says, is that it's not just the government that owes an apology, it's all of us. So from the bottom of my heart, I would like to apologize to the migrant workers and domestic workers for the way that Singapore has treated them. And I think that we all need to do better. That's the start of the journey and the job that lies ahead of us. The apology is just the start. It cannot just be seen by some people as the end of it. I find it very ironic that some people I know who have always been very xenophobic and very anti-foreign worker, especially the migrant workers, are now asking the government to apologize. Don't just pass the buck. It starts with us. So that's my feeling about it. So what do you guys think?
Well, I like to say thank you to every single migrant worker we've got in this country. Too many of us don't even bother to say that. And yes, Gilbert, thank you for bringing this up because it also gives me an opportunity of saying sorry on behalf of all of us that we could have done better. We can always treat you better because you've treated us so well. Every bridge, every road, every building, everything we have was built by your bare hands. And if we haven't done right by you, we are sorry. Yeah. So I really appreciate that, Gilbert. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
the
I
work
think-
just begins.
I want to say to the people who have been, in the years past, already been aware of the circumstances that our foreign workers are living in, who've been advocating for them, who've been reaching out to them, who've been communicating with them when everyone else was ignoring them, right? I think I want to thank those people for persevering, for continuing their struggle, right? And now that the world's attention is on you, please guide us, right? Please give us an example to follow. We are sorry we were not there with you fighting the good fight earlier, but hopefully beyond this, we will be. So thank you.
Well, it's my turn. So I'm just going to say that, you see, everything that is dark, there's going to be light after that. So even though during these dark times, I just want to say thank you that these dark times have actually shown us the light. And it is thanks to these very, very challenging times that we have come to this point where we are willing to say thank you to these people who we didn't acknowledge before or we didn't acknowledge earlier, because now we've seen the light. And that's the wonderful part, that during these times, that cloud has a silver lining, and we've all seen the silver lining. And well, sorry, because like all of you said ahead of me, we should have thought of it long back, and we should have been taking care of those dorms and those crowded situations long back. Okay, we didn't. But what's wonderful, as a nation, we've come together to say sorry, and that's what counts, because now we just move ahead positively, inclusively, together, compassionately. So it's one more point. It's all about love, love, love.
Yes.
Can I say? I'm sorry. Can I say something as a follow up from last week's episode? Because I think it's only fair that we do for these guys. For those who celebrating, or rather observing Ramadan at this time, and looking forward towards your Hari Raya, we're very happy for you that on May the 12th, your home-based business and your gorgeous cookies can all, start getting on a roll again, and people start
Party
enjoying them.
time.
Yeah, and as a promise, those of us, I'm going to speak for the rest of my friends in this little chat room, in this show of ours, that we promised that we will continue to support home-based businesses, and once you start, count on us. We will continue to support you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
Gilbert.
No. So I just want to say, thank you guys for watching, and thank you to the migrant workers and domestic workers, and to my fellow Singaporeans. Let's just remember that this is the beginning of what we need to do for them. The sorry and the thank you is not the end. We cannot just say it and forget about it again and go back to the old ways. This is just the beginning, and it starts with every one of us. So thank you. Be safe and be kind.
I want
Thanks
to
again,
say,
everyone, for being with us. Okay, don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Okay, and also you will find our short version on YouTube and the full version of the podcast wherever good podcasts are found. So
John,
everyone,
can I just-
stay safe. Yes.
Just one last thing I want to say is I want to wish those who follow the Buddha a very happy Vaisak day, because today is a very, very special day for them. And I want to end the show by just telling you all what Buddha said. And he said, change is never painful, but it's the resistance to change that is painful. So I urge everybody to be flexible, to want to go with the flow, and to take his words very seriously on this very beautiful, happy Vaisak day.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Thank you.
See you guys again soon.
Ayo, yo, yo!
Ayo.
I-O-H-O, in our humble opinion.
Hey, shut up lah!